My name's Dan Wilson. Hello. So I've had this idea like for a side project for like an audio social network, kind of like, I don't know, like Twitter, but instead of tweets, you can upload like 5 minutes of audio per day. You know, I would follow X amount of people and go for a walk and just listen to all their kind of audio for that day. Kind of like diary entries, doesn't have to be, but not for music. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So I've never used Supabase. I've been on the website dozens and dozens of times over the last like 5 years, but I just never really took the plunge. Don't know why. Well, I kind of do know why, but I'll explain that. But I've always been interested in it. I felt it wouldn't scale. Single Postgres database getting hit by, let's be lofty ambitions, millions of people. I wasn't sure, but also that the costs, they might get prohibitive. That was my idea. And I was also afraid of vendor lock-in. You know, you build this bustling business with Supabase and you're kind of stuck, and then they can change the pricing, that kind of thing. So yeah, I saw Belfast JS was being sponsored by Supabase tonight, and I thought, you know what it is, I'll put on a talk, I'll build something. Brief overview of the tech I've used. So Remix, I actually have another slide about Remix at a high level, but some people will know it, some people won't. It's kind of like a server-side rendered full stack framework, similar to Next.js or SvelteKit. Obviously, I've used Supabase, first time using it. In particular, I'm using the Supabase SSR JavaScript client, which is in beta. It seems really solid to me. It seems to just be a wrapper around the Supabase JavaScript client, but for SSR, you know, Next, Remix, SvelteKit, that kind of thing. Use Tailwind for CSS, which a lot of people have mixed feelings about. I find it pretty cool. It's really easy to get stuff up and running. The first thing I'll touch on is Remix in a nutshell. So it's built by the team behind React Router. React Router is one of the most popular React libraries. It's massive, and these guys built their own framework. It's been around for a couple of years now. Its whole spiel is that it attempts to stay as close to web fundamentals as humanly possible, using forms and, you know, using forms for pretty much everything. Browser redirects, status codes, tries to do that. Three main concepts of Remix, and I'll go over this when I go through the code, is file-based routing, which is kind of normal these days for Next.js and SvelteKit. I'll show you an example of the file-based routing. Loaders run before, so every route or page is basically a React component, and loaders will run before loading the React component to basically fetch any information you need, any data you need to display the page. And then actions are mainly for mutating data. So they're not run before the page loads, they're run as an action of the page. Well, I'll show you examples. So this is the website. It's only running locally at the moment. You can upload a track, or you can play one of the tracks here. So like, I don't know if the sound will play, but I don't want it to go blasting loud, but let's see what happens. Well, you can see that the music's playing. That's all that really matters, but you can't hear it. Okay, so we'll start with the off part. So as you can see here, there is a routes folder, and as I was saying, it's file-based routing. So index is like just nothing. It's, you know, the base level. But if I like have /login, it'll basically show this. Now, okay, so I discussed actions previously, and I will come back to that in a second. So React component called login. I'll skip over this for now, I'll come back to it. But the base page that gets returned is basically going to be a form. It's like a special Remix form with the method post, and it has inputs. The most important thing here is the name, email. So if I click the login page, you'll see it. Okay, login or sign up, email, sign in. Okay. When I click the submit button, it's going to run the action. So I've defined the action up here, and it makes use of the create Supabase server client. I'll show you that very quickly. As I was saying, it uses the Supabase SSR JavaScript client, and it returns basically a Supabase client. You know, it uses my Supabase URL and an on key, which are in my .env file. And it basically, what it's doing is, whenever I log in, it'll set my auth credentials to like my cookies, basically. So that's what that looks like. So, okay, create Supabase client, and you do this. So you await your request form data, and that'll come back with all the different inputs you had on the form. So form data get email, which lines up with the email input down here. And basically I'm going to do a sign in with a one-time password, and there's an email redirect to localhost 5173, which is what I am hosting on right now. So I'm going to try this, fingers crossed it works, dwilson89, sign in, and it's going to tell me, okay, please check your email. So there's been something successful, and I'll show you the code there. If there's an error, it'll return success false. If there's no error, it'll return success true. Now, Remix has this use action data hook, React hooks, you know how it is. And you can hook into the action response. How I've done it, it's probably not the cleanest way to do it, but it works. If the action response is success, show me, please check your email. So it's been a success, that's positive. Let's try this. Confirm your email, boom, it has logged me in. And that's just living in my cookies. I can show it if I go to application. Look at cookies here. Yeah, you can see there's a cookie living there. I promise that's the auth token. It's not one I made up. As I was saying, I stop building whenever I get stuck at auth, and I had that built in like 10 minutes. It was ridiculously easy. That's kind of auth in a nutshell. I could log out, but I'm not going to. So yeah, that's auth. Okay, the database. So as you can see on this page, there is like 4 tracks coming back. They're coming back from the database. And I'll show you the database. Table editor, yeah, this is it. So I've got single table tracks. There's also an auth table, but it's kind of abstracted away. Tracks, and it's got these 4 tracks on it. What should happen and what does happen. You can hear it happening. It'll play these tracks. What's really cool about Remix, and I'll talk on that in a wee minute, is you don't actually reload the whole page whenever you change route. So I can go to upload a track here. The music will still be playing because it's in my footer. And it's the same with the header here. They're separate. All that's being reloaded is the center of the screen here. But yeah, so I'll show you the code around the getting from the database. So it's in my index. Basically, there's this index component. It's just the HTML for upload a track link. Tracks is what we get back from a loader, as I was discussing before. So we have this concept of a loader. It's get everything you need to display on the page. So again, we're getting the Supabase client, and then we Supabase client from tracks, which is the database table tracks, and select all, because I'm lazy, and yeah. So it returns DB data. It also returns like errors and stuff like that. I haven't coded that, just I'm happy path here. So if there's no DB data, I don't even think I handled this, but yeah, just return JSON null. So what I'm doing here is taking the DB data, and I'm mapping through the tracks that come back from the database, and getting the file names. So map, track, and just returning an array of the file names. Then I'm taking those file names and using the storage API, I'm creating signed URLs for each of those tracks, because I've got the track saved in Supabase storage, and I can show you that. If I go to storage, you can see there's a bucket called tracks, and it has like these 4 tracks. Yeah, so it creates a signed URL. They are valid for 60 seconds multiplied by 60, so that's 60 minutes, and it returns storage data. Then what I'm doing is basically creating DB data with URLs, mapping through the DB data, and basically sticking on a signed URL to those. There might be a better way of doing it. That's just how I did it. And my loader, at the end of the day, returns DB data with URLs. So, yeah, another one of these hooks, use loader data, and it returns tracks, which is DB data with URLs. Loops through tracks, sorry, if tracks are there, it'll do a tracks.map and basically create one of these for each track. So that's how the DB works. I'll let me see. Yeah, there is a concept, it's a Postgres concept, but Supabase leans heavy on it, called row level security. And you can kind of set it so that the person who created the row is the only person who can edit or delete it. So I'm going to, I kind of touched on this, layouts and outlet. So as I was showing you, you can play the tracks, you can navigate around the website. It's only reloading basically in this instance the center of the page, which is an outlet. I'll briefly show you the code for that. All right, so this is my root.tsx, and it's kind of like your base layout file. Okay, so I'll show you down here first, app, and it returns an outlet. The outlet, you don't actually know this, but because it's a remix, it returns whatever's defined in layout. And the layout takes in children. So how I'm using it is, I'm using context API to keep in memory, you know, keep in state, basically, what the current track is, so that if we move about, it stays. I've got a header, a footer, which is kind of seen, and then basically the children, which is what changes when you update the route. So that's a brief overview of layouts and outlets. Okay, so storage. I touched on pulling down the signed URLs, but I'm going to actually show you uploading to storage. So if I hit upload a track, there's this crap, add a title, choose a file. I'll show you what I was going to do. Couldn't get it working, but let me see. So if I go to upload, no, it's not upload, it is record. Okay, so if I just comment this out, live coding, what can go wrong? If I comment this out, yep, that's what went wrong. It's the return, that's the problem. Okay, so my initial idea was this. Okay, so you would hit request recording permission, basically ask your browser to let you record. I've already agreed to it, but if I reset that permission and reload the page, I can show you it again. It'll pop up, can this page use your microphone? I'm gonna say yes, and then we would start recording. So it'll be like, Supabase Meetup, yay, and it would create basically a blob. The idea is in future you could like crop this audio track and all that kind of stuff, but for now it just creates an audio track. I don't know if we're going to hear this. I don't know if I want to hear this, but so it'll be like Supabase Meetup, yay, that kind of thing. And the idea was I hit upload recording, and it would get uploaded to Supabase storage. I couldn't get it working. I think it's more a remix thing than a Supabase thing, but if I, let's see, if I show you the page again, okay, so I went for the happy path, I went for the easy way of doing it, so basically just uploading the file instead of actually recording it in the browser. So if I choose a file, and I go down to my sound files, hopefully there's nothing weird in here. I've got this weird wee audio track. I'm going to call it Supabase Belfast. Before I hit upload, I'll actually show you the code for this. So, again, everything in Remix comes down to forms. So I have a form with an input for the title, the name's title. I have an input for the file, it's of type file, and the name is audio URL. And then I have a submit button, upload recording. If we go up to the action, yep, okay, so the action. Remix doesn't really know how to handle file uploads, so they have this unstable create memory upload handler. I was reading the docs, I got it working, I kind of walked away from it. So again, create Supabase client. First thing I was doing is getting the user, the current user, because I wanted to basically use the user name against the track so that I could associate it. So yep, data, we get this user back. And then I was getting form data. Yeah, it uses this upload handler. Okay, then I would get from the form the title I wanted to assign to the track and the audio URL, which would basically be like a file. And then I would generate a crypto random UUID file name, because in the back end I don't really care what it's called. It's more about the track title matters, but the file name doesn't. So that's why I did it that way. It's Probably a better way of doing it, but that's how I did it. Okay, so the first thing I did was use the storage client. So from tracks, which is the name of the bucket, I'm going to upload the file name, the file, and upsert true basically means if there's something there with the same file name, just overwrite it, because happy path. If an error comes back, redirect the upload. That's not well handled. It's irrelevant. But if the upload error doesn't happen, so sorry, the upload error will come back from that Supabase client storage. But if upload error is null, which is good, we will then enter into the database tracks, insert the file name, the author, and the title. So yeah, I think at a high level, that's all that really matters. I'll also, before I do that, I'll talk about policies. So this is Supabase storage, and if I go into policies, I have set up policies for selecting, inserting, and updating files. They're really simple, but basically it's saying you can only insert if you're authenticated. So nobody random can just upload files into this bucket. So I'm going to hit upload, and fingers crossed, it uploads. Uploaded successful, apparently. I do believe it. So I'll go to homepage, and if I scroll down, bingo, Supabase Belfast, it exists, and we can see my email is associated with it. If we go to the tracks bucket, we can see that this random file has been created, and that's cool, that's fine. If I go to the database, what do I do? Go to view table. We can see Supabase Belfast is there, and the file name is this random crypto UUID. So let's see if we can hear it. It's banger. So yeah, that is uploaded, and that's great. So yeah, that's kind of storage in a nutshell. My big concern initially with Supabase was scalability. It really was about the cost of scale. If you got millions of users, and you'd be paying out a bomb. But then I kind of came to the conclusion that, like, who cares about scale if you never build something like so? Their tagline is build in a weekend, scale to millions, and I do actually get that. It makes a lot of sense. Big concern too was vendor lock-in. Yeah, it's like anything. It's like Vercel, AWS, Azure, GCP, Cloudflare. They can knock up the prices when they want to, but apparently it can be self-hosted. Maybe they just say that the way Vercel says, like it's really easy to host Next.js, but it's actually really easy to host it in Vercel. But yeah, I'm very impressed with Supabase. The docs are class. They really are. Pretty much everything I needed, I was able to find within like 2 minutes. Yeah, the JavaScript client is fantastic. I did not find a single issue with it. You can generate the TypeScript types using the Supabase CLI. So I've actually done that, and yeah, it's class. And yeah, the UI itself is pretty good. Yeah, I was able to find everything I needed, set up policies, all that kind of stuff, pretty easy. So yeah, very, very impressed. Parting thoughts continued. This is the last slide. Some scenarios with regards to my my idea. Scenarios Supabase may not be suited for. So like things like like counts. Like let's say you want people to like your track. It's generally handled by a key value store because you don't want to be hitting a SQL database flat out. Supabase doesn't provide that, so you would need to use something else. Things like me following people following me, and mutual connections better handled by something like a GraphDB. I've never even looked at a GraphDB, but I understand in theory it's better. So I think my open question is, can the above two scenarios be handled in a serverless fashion? Fairly certain a key value store can be. A GraphDB, I'm not certain. So that's kind of an open question. Yeah, notifications. Maybe they could be handled like, you know, Dan's uploaded a new track, send a notification to all his followers. It could be maybe handled by an edge function when a new row is added to the DB, but that might get expensive. Yeah, Supabase offers edge functions. I didn't look at them, but they exist. So that is the end. Sorry for putting you all through that there. Any questions?
It's
Hello?
not a question, but that's a really good idea for an app. I'd use that.
That's good.
It's good like Twitter for whenever you're driving.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was going out for a walk, but yeah.
Yeah. What if someone like just screams?
That's what I do when I go home. Maybe, I mean, maybe we can have some kind of moderation. I don't know. Hello.
What's Supabase Bootstrap? I've never heard of that.
It's only been announced. So basically, Supabase is. Sounds like I'm working for Supabase. I'm not. The reason I think we're doing this Belfast JS with Supabase is doing like a week of announcements this week, and one of the things, because they're going generally available, and one of the things they've announced is Supabase Bootstrap, which will basically get you up and running with like a full stack Supabase. And I know there's Next.js, there might be Svelte, I don't know, but basically it'll get you an app up and running very quickly.
Very good.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet. Any other questions?
Good. All right, well, thanks, Dan. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.